Delegate Watts this morning, Speaker of the Virginia House of Delegates Don Scott and Chairman of the House Appropriations Committee Luke Torian shared the Virginia House's proposed budget package. That package, of course, still needs buy-in from the state Senate before the June 30th deadline. Are you concerned about a possible state government shutdown?
That's precisely why the House has been working so hard, trying to look at everything that the Senate has proposed, integrated into this proposed compromise to move as quickly as we can towards the adoption. It is a significantly bigger budget than what the House originally passed, $2 billion more because of revenue projections, as well as looking at some of the issues that were raised by the Senate. It definitely deals with increased funding for K through 12, absolutely gets into the constant issues that we're facing with the federal administration regarding health care cuts and food SNAP cuts, all of those important benefits. But then as far as data centers, which has been a major problem.
Yes. You're the House Finance Committee chair, so you're deeply involved in this.
Especially
so our listeners understand the core disagreement at the center of this budget debate is a tax break for data centers. The House budget proposal continues those tax breaks, and where do you stand on that issue?
So what the House, let's make sure that we understand the total proposal being made, released this morning, and we'll meet on the 18th to adopt this, is to suspend all changes in data center taxation until we have and immediately have a full study commission that will report in time for action in January.
That's called kicking it down the road.
Not really, because of the complexity. It is much too simplistic to say that the only aspect that we have to deal with is the tax situation. 38 states have similar tax credits or tax exemptions. So we're right in the pack with the rest of the states. If we suddenly change and go with the other 12, we've got serious problems in how we handle this. Having said that, Virginia has over a quarter, I believe it's 27% of all of the data centers in the United States.
And more on the books coming.
And more on the books. And so we're far ahead of other states that are rolling to get their quote-unquote share with, however, I'll be talking about all the concerns that go with putting in a data center. But having said
like
that,
the impact on the environment and energy.
Yeah, but let's don't lose the money. The money is the issue here. It's like $2 billion. I was talking to some of the people in the Senate, and they were saying that when these ideas for tax incentives were first broached and put in place for the data centers, it was to attract the industry. But now the growth is such that what was going to be several millions of dollars in benefits to those companies is now $2 billion. Even in Texas, which is a very conservative state, the governor there is saying we're going to end these tax breaks for data centers. It's costing Texas $3 billion. Mm-hmm. Why can't there be a compromise from the Senate does not want to give up these all these taxes you're getting from the data centers? It's a big industry in Virginia. The speaker, Louise Lucas, the state senator who runs the finance part of the Senate, is calling the speaker Amazon Don because of all these high-tech industry companies are throwing money at that part of the legislators.
On the House side,
why not a compromise?
On the House side, we separate. I'm tax committee finance chair, and we have the appropriations chair. So when we look at the full tax considerations, just doing away with an incentive that was 15, 17 years ago.
You could phase it out.
originally to bring in data centers. Our problem now, obviously, is not bringing in data centers. The incentive should be, because our number one problem is energy usage. We, for a decade, Virginia, along with the rest of the country, basically energy needs have been plateaued as we all use
and that's
LED
been a big issue in every
bulbs,
Maryland, everywhere.
But now we're looking at as much as a 10-fold increase in energy coming out of data centers. So number one in the House package, number one of this commission is to ensure that the energy demands generated by data centers will not be borne by residential units. That's number one.
Excuse me, does that mean they will be borne by the data centers themselves?
Absolutely.
Because that's kind of
that's
a backward
your alternative.
way. Well, yes, because
that's your alternative. So this is why the complexity of how you do that with my personal tax hat on, when I incentivize, I want to make sure that my tax is connected with that. So am I going to say you only get the exemption if it's significantly more energy efficient? That's what I want you to do. Do I instead increase our utility tax on data centers, which is already higher than residential? Well, should it be higher yet? What do I do as far as making sure directly that these data centers pay for all of the generation they're asking for, as well as transmitting that to their site? All of those things are part of what need to be addressed, not just simply whether we don't have an exemption.
I mentioned kicking down the road. You just named all the complexities. Do the complexities mean that you see this tax break continuing this year and next year? When will all those complexities be worked out? Can that be worked out before the budget? I don't think so.
Well, first of all, there was a phasing out anyway, so we're giving ourselves a time to make sure that in the next 6 months, what we exactly want to enfold in all these complexities, so we don't end up with the simplistic approach that we had 15 years ago, which is just that you exempt purchase of equipment from
what
taxation.
timeline is your? It sounds like you want to reform the data center tax policy. That's what it sounds like to me, to make sure it pays for energy and all those other things. What is the timeline for you to do that? The Senate wants to act now on the tax breaks, and the House is saying, no, we're going to work. How much time are we talking about
about 5 months.
Okay.
5 months. The reports will come out in November.
So the next legislative session.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to Metro. Metro funding is also a budget